The entire world views 2024 Argentina as an economic miracle of historic proportions. Everyone wonders how libertarian President Javier Milei managed to chainsaw 30% of the government, not experiencing lower-class social uproar, yet increasing his popularity. Welcome to the Argentina's Milei libertarian miracle. In order to give you proper context, let's make a quick review. By the November 2023 presidential election, Kirchnerist Argentina was at the brink of hyperinflation. Poverty rate at more than 50%. Monthly inflation running at 25.5%. Economic default due to not honoring international debt payments. Tremendous social unrest. Discredited law enforcement. And more than 8,000 roadblocks and pickets a year. Having tried socialist/populist recipes for over a century, this time around, 56% of the population elected a libertarian as their president. By December 2023, after taking the helm of such a devastated country and having crafted a plan in advance, the first libertarian president in the history of the world was ready to turn Argentina around. Milei had campaigned on three major promises: lowering inflation, restore law enforcement, slashing public spending, his famous chainsaw. The first thing President Milei did was reducing ministries from 18 to 8 and firing over 1,000 government officials. At the same time, Milei suddenly stops money printing to finance the treasury and begins a thorough audit on public expenses. Right after that, Milei signs the famous Executive Order 70/23, abolishing rent controls, goods price controls, state funding to news media outlets, mandatory payments from employees' checks to unions, communication regulations, and countless other prohibitions. Also, Argentina announces to the world that in geopolitics it will side with the United States of America and Israel. Then, Milei instilled an anti-picketing protocol. This enabled law enforcement agencies to stop demonstrators from blocking streets and roads, securing the free movement of the people. So, with all this in place, by January 2024, after only 1 month in office, Milei had lowered monthly inflation by 5%. Yet the most important accomplishment of it all was that Argentina had reached not only primary surplus, but fiscal surplus as well, all in 1 month time. This was something the world has never seen before. After these major accomplishments, and despite getting continually scolded by the Kirchnerists, who had previously plunged Argentina into the abyss, further chainsaw policies were taken by Milei. This is when a first deregulation ministry in history was created, which is eliminating an average of 3 regulations a day. More than 37,000 public employees were fired. 30% of public spending was cut. More than 12 taxes were either lowered or eliminated. A large investment incentive program with huge tax cuts was in place, and government money issuance was 100% terminated, among other things.
What happened to all that noise?
All this led to 2024 as being the biggest turnaround year in Argentine history. Poverty rate falling from 51.2% to 35.8%. This means that more than 7 million souls have been lifted out of poverty. Monthly inflation falling from 25.5% to 2.2%. 12 consecutive months of fiscal surplus. Country risk falling from 2,500 to below 700 basis points. So, the question still remains. How did Milei manage to achieve all this without lower-class unrest? Having audited all government agencies, which uncovered all kinds of corruption schemes, President Milei's human capital minister, Sandra Pettovello, discovered that all welfare programs' money and food were funneled through various specific NGOs. These NGOs, instead of giving the beneficiaries 100% of their duly states aid, they kept a percentage for themselves and in many cases extorted beneficiaries. These were the infamously called managers of poverty. Being aware of this, President Milei quickly took two measures. One, all welfare money would cease to be given to these NGOs and would be given directly to the beneficiaries. And two, Milei set up a hotline for welfare beneficiaries to be able to report extortions done by these managers of poverty. By the end of 2024, more than 150,000 calls were made to this hotline. These reports showed a variety of extortions being done to the most vulnerable population for them to collect their welfare money, from having to go and block a street or a road, protesting against the government, to molesting a specific Milei's official. These managers of poverty would even reward welfare beneficiaries if they took their children to the picketing. Other uncovered extortions reported that they had to clean houses, and in the province of Chaco, one of the poorest of the country, dozens of women on welfare were coerced into having sex with local officials to collect their welfare check. This case was called the trafficking in persons welfare. Besides taking all this to court, President Milei increased welfare to cover 100% of the basic food basket. All of this combined explain the increase of Milei's popularity, but especially the reason why there is no social unrest in Argentina. After all, as Milei has always said, Argentina's demise will be paid by the caste and not by the good-willed people.